Do what thou wilt should be the whole of the law. Frater Oz again. On my way from Illinois to Fort Worth, and I wanted to make another video for you guys. Hit that subscribe button if you enjoy the content, like the video. Talk to me in the comments below. And consider supporting the channel by signing up for the Patreon in the link in the description. Okay, that'd really help out. It's helping me to build some kind of a retirement. Anything that I make off the Patreon or the videos or super chats and live streams is going to go straight toward my retirement. Since we occultists aren't exactly the best at building up a financial future, and I'm not getting any younger. So the topic of today is going to be, what do we get out of performing the rituals and following the practices in the corpus of Thelema, all right? And there are a lot of them. And the vast majority of us Thelemites who've been around for a long time have gone through at least stints of doing intense daily work. Some people gravitate towards some rituals and practices more than other rituals and practices. So the experience level of from a magician to magician basis is going to be different, you know, and some people gravitate more toward the supernatural, spiritual side, and some people like me gravitate more toward the agnostic or atheist perspective on these things. But there's benefits to be gained from these practices, whether or not you believe in external entities outside yourself and the supernatural in general. There are still benefits to be gained from the practices. So I've often said, not here, but it's often something that I've said, that kind of the goal of the practices of Thelema in my mind is to train the body and the mind to conform to the will. Okay? And if you look at a lot of the practices from that perspective, you will see how they're able to accomplish that. Like, just take for an example, doing a meditation where you are trying to hold the tattvas in your mind, or trying to hold complex movements in your mind. I used to do this one where I would try to imagine two gears spinning together, one's bigger, one's smaller, and try to make them turn in the correct ratios. These types of practices teach you to focus your mind. They teach you to hold images in your mind and keep your mind from wandering. Now, it is very difficult to keep your mind from wandering when you're meditating, okay? Most people find it extremely difficult. And so the more you do it, and the more you are able to shut out all of the wandering thoughts, the more focused your mind becomes, the more control over your mind you have. So basically, you're willing your mind to be controlled by that will. Willing the mind and the body to conform to the will. And the same thing is true with asana, okay? Asana hurts. Yes, you could just do one where you're just laying in the bed and that's not painful, but you get into the positions that Crowley talks about and they are painful, okay? To try to sit in those positions for an hour is not easy. It takes a lot of will to force yourself to sit in that position. The asana that I chose for myself was the dragon. It seems simple. You know, your hands on your thighs and you're just basically on your knees, okay? If you have not tried to do that position, go ahead and try to do it for 10 minutes. And then you tell me you can do it for an hour. At the peak Like, I was able to do it for 45 minutes. I think I might have hit an hour a couple of times, but I'm telling you what, it took me 10 minutes to come out of it, and I hurt for quite some time afterwards. It is painful. Excuse me. This is training your body to conform to your will. You're telling your body that we're going to do this, and then you force yourself to do it. You're training your body and your mind to conform to your will, okay? This is very useful in everyday life. You have to do shit that you don't want to do. You sometimes have to do shit that's painful. And the more prepared you are to be able to overcome those obstacles, the more effective you are. Now, another thing that the practices did, at least for me, some of them, like the I believe it's Liber E with the clairvoyance and stuff like that, was proved to me that clairvoyance does not exist. Okay, when you do the practices, and I mean, I became really frustrated. There was a period where I was not connected with the OTO after I took my Minerval, and I spent quite some time doing these practices and really trying to like develop these powers, if you want to call them that. And when you do it over and over and you journal it and you look back at it and you become frustrated because you don't seem to be getting any better at it. Like at the time, the realization didn't really come upon me until much later. But looking back on it when I got older, I started to realize that it wasn't something wrong with me. It was that nobody can do that. You know what I mean? So that's neither here nor there. The point is that doing all of these practices like sharpens and strengthens your control of your mind and your body. Okay, and I believe personally that that's really the goal. Okay, now some people don't approach it from an agnostic or atheist standpoint like I do, and when I was doing it, in truth, I didn't. It's only been maybe the last 6 years or so that I've really come into this more atheist outlook. Before that, you know, everything that I was doing, I was like trying to actually cause supernatural things, and you know, I viewed it from that perspective, and a lot of people do and continue to, and that's fine. You know, when you hear me talk about this is just from my perspective and my experience, all right? But then let's look at some of the other ones, like Liber Jugorum. You know, it says cut yourself and tell yourself, you know, like an example is not to speak in the first person. So no I, me, or my in any sentences. And if you screw that up, you have to cut yourself. Some people do it with a rubber band, okay? If you use a thick enough rubber band and you really pop it, you know, it's like training yourself through pain to do what you say you're going to do. To basically cause your mind and your body to conform to your will. And you'll see this theme throughout these practices, that it's causing you to force yourself to do something to strengthen your ability to truly have control of your mind and your body, okay? It's the same thing with memorization, okay? It's either Liber E or Liber O that has you to memorize all the tables in 777. I wasn't super successful at that, but there was a time when I was pretty good at it. And, but other things I was very successful at memorizing, okay? And memorization is another thing that helps you to control your recall, control your brain, will your brain to recall information, okay? And a lot of people say, I can't memorize stuff. Yes, you can. You can memorize stuff. You just have to beat it into your brain. And then once you beat it into your brain enough, like even years later, you can still recall it perfectly, you know. And anyone, like when I see people perform a mass and they're flubbing and stuttering, it's not because they can't memorize things. It's because they didn't prepare beforehand and they have not properly beat that into their brain to where they never forget it. I'm not some badass at memorizing stuff. I don't have a photographic memory or anything like that. Yet I can recall the mass from memory, word for word perfect, okay? For the most part. Quick example. O circle of stars, whereof our Father is but the younger brother. Marvel beyond imagination, soul of infinite space, before whom time is ashamed, the mind bewildered, and the understanding dark. Not unto thee may we attain, unless thine image be love. Therefore by seed and root and stem and bud and leaf and flower and fruit do we invoke thee. Then the priest answered and said unto the queen of space, kissing her lovely brows and the dew of her life, bathing his whole body in a sweet-smelling perfume of sweat, O Nuit, continuous one of heaven, let it be ever thus, that men speak not of thee as one, but as none, and let them speak not of thee at all, since thou art continuous. And that is not like me trying to show off. I'm just saying that I have beat that into my brain so heavily that even now, 4 or 5 years after the last time I performed the Mass, I can recall that word perfect. And you go look at it, it's word perfect. And I can do that with a lot of things simply because I have willed myself to do that. And so I did it. And you don't give up until it's done. And that's what the practices teach you. They teach you this type of focus. And not necessarily make you some superhuman who can recall information, but they give you the focus and the determination to accomplish whatever goal you put in front of yourself. And the goal there happened to be to memorize the Gnostic Mass. And you can apply that same thing to whatever goal you'd like to pursue. And if you put enough determination and focus into it, you can accomplish it. And the Thelemic practices help you to develop the ability to have that type of focus. So, I hope that was useful. I hope that made sense to you. I appreciate your support. Again, hit the subscribe button, like the video, and support the channel by signing up for the Patreon down below. Love is the law. Love under will.